Hello everyone and welcome to the 23rd episode of the Nature's Cozy video podcast. My name is Allie and I am the maker behind Nature's Cozy. You can find me by that username on Instagram, Ravelry if you use Ravelry, and on Goodreads. I hope everyone is doing well. If this is your first time checking out my videos, welcome, and if this is not, welcome back. A lot has happened since the last time I have talked to you guys. I am in Chicago, back on the couch because the lighting is just better on this side than on the other side, which is where I was filming my last two videos. I'm officially back in Chicago and it feels normal, but also just normal. I think with COVID and everything and coming back a lot and staying for, 2-3 weeks, sometimes a month, like leaving Champaign, it was like, all right, like I'm leaving here. And then it was like, okay, I'm back in Chicago. For those of you who are new, I defended my master's thesis. I'm still writing revisions to my thesis, but like the hardest part is over with. And I was going down to school in Champaign, Illinois, and I officially moved back up with my boyfriend and our 2 cats. Well, actually, I guess I should call him my fiance now because we got engaged. I'm still trying to get used to saying fiance. I keep calling him my boyfriend, but yeah, we're engaged. I don't know how well this ring is gonna show up, but yay. So I will talk more about like all of this and life stuff more later on, because I also have a lot of stash, and half of my stash is kind of tied into like everything that's been going on. So if you're interested in like learning how like more about this, if you don't follow me on Instagram, or just like general like how my defense went and like everything else that's been going on, feel free to stick around till the end. Also, I meant to paint my nails beforehand and I didn't, so don't mind that. So usually I talk about books at the end, but I'm gonna be honest, I haven't finished any books. I've just been in kind of a really big reading slump still. I am still reading the Rural Diaries. I still enjoy it every time I pick it up, but I don't know. But I'm currently reading Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was the book for my book club, which is on Sunday. I don't think I'm going to finish it in time, will be the first time I haven't finished a book for book club since we started like at the beginning of last year. But that's what, I'm going to try my best to finish as much as I possibly can, but this is the book and I'm enjoying it so far. She's the same author of Daisy Jones and I think it's The Six, which I tried listening to that in an audiobook, but there's just too many voices and I don't know, I couldn't like get super into like the format of like the interview style and everything. And she also did The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I read earlier this year and I really loved. And there's some like little ties with Evelyn Hugo in this book. Just little things, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But because I haven't finished a book, I don't really have much to talk about besides that, so I just kind of wanted to mention that here because again, I have a lot of like stash and life stuff, and people may not be interested in that, so that way you can just kind of leave after my whips. So I don't have any finished objects to share with you this time around. And I only have 4 whips to talk about this time, as opposed to last time where I just like vomited all of the yarn goodness. So I think the first project I will talk about are actually in my new knitting bag. There's cat hair on it, so sorry, not sorry, but this is my new sock bag by Knitting Nelly, Morgan from Knitting Nelly. I think this is like my favorite bag that I own by her. This is my 4th bag and she like every single time I buy it, it just makes me want to quilt, especially like try to make my own like quilted bags and everything. I did just buy some like string for making like drawstring bags. So maybe I'll try that this weekend or next week and see how that goes. But yes, it's very cute. And this is to me like the perfect bag for the end of summer, beginning of fall, because it just has that like end of summer bonfire vibe to me. And it has like some of like the fall colors kind of in it as well. So yeah, that's just how I feel when I see it. But I am currently working on my Lightning Ridge socks, my second one by Hygge Canyon. So I really wanted to get this sock done before their release, so I test knitted this for Kim. I probably won't because I'm obsessed with one of her other patterns that I just like am having a hard time putting down. I do want to at least finish the cuff of this though and try to get some like finished object photos of like the cuff and of this sock before the release on August 15th. Today is August 12th. It's a Thursday, but I probably won't get this up until maybe next week, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. So by the time this goes up, these socks should definitely be out. And yeah, I'm like kind of halfway through the little cuff part. They're like little shorty socks. And I really love them. I know she made like some adjustments to the pattern, so I think some of this will kind of change when I knit it. But this was the second sock in case you're, or the first sock I completed in case you're curious. And the sock set that I am using is by Rose Hill Yarns in the Happy Fall Y'all. So it's kind of perfect to knit on these right now since fall is just around the corner. Once pumpkin spice comes out, that's it. I'm done for. It's fall. And September. Okay, really September 1st. It's like fall, even though it's not technically September 1st, but I don't think anyone cares. I think everyone probably, I think most people probably feel the same way I do, unless like summer is your favorite season. But that's just the tag for the socks. Yeah, it says 75-25 superwash merino nylon. It's actually a 2-ply though, so but it feels super soft, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually true and not mislabeled. But here's the main color. I feel like things are showing up just a little bit on the warmer side on my camera. But for the most part, it seems like true to color, just like ever so slightly warmer. So yeah, that's my project. Like I said, I'm really addicted to this other shawl that I'm working on. That's one of her patterns. But once I kind of I have a feeling like I'm gonna just work on that until it's done, and then I'll probably complete these. So the second project that I wanted to talk about, you've seen multiple times, and that is in one of my baskets that I got from Molly from the Homespun House. She doesn't sell these anymore, but it is my half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho. And I believe the last time I showed you, I was still on my first color, but I am finally on my second color. And I believe this is called Juniper Green. It's really pretty. There's kind of some lighter olivey, like golden tones in there, and then of course like a more green in there, and then all of those linen like flecks that you see. I have the windows open. It's really hot, so sorry if you hear like any like background noise. No construction today though, which is good. But yeah, there's no way I can have the AC on right now while I'm recording, which it's like in the 90s right now. So yeah, but so here is my, how do I hold this up? It's so big. Okay. Here's my half and half. So this colorway is the rose granite. It's actually a little bit more of a cooler color than what my camera is picking up today. It is like a pinky gray color, and yeah, but you can see it's like huge. And then here is my second color. Again, this is much cooler. I think the green's actually picking up true to size, true to color. And yeah, and so if maybe you haven't heard of the half wrap cowl, maybe you're new to knitting, or you just don't follow those people who talked about it. But the half wrap, the half and half triangle wrap is actually kind of going on as like a cowl. So the Caddy Jacks podcast, Caitlin and Jackie, they're hosting the half wrap cowl. And it started about a year ago, and essentially there's supposed to be a really comforting knit. And you're supposed to kind of finish up, I think October 15th, you're supposed to have like your pictures in their Ravelry group, like the finished object. And it was like anyone who's going to Rhinebeck who knit this, they're going to be meeting at Rhinebeck and like kind of showing everything off. I think they said if you're not going to Rhinebeck, they'll try to make a video or something to kind of just show off everyone's half wrap cowl. So I have just a little over 2 months left to finish this up. I'll probably start working on it sometime this weekend again, just to keep it going, even if it's like 30 minutes a day, until I get some of the other things off my needles that I would like to get off, and then I'll probably go hardcore again with this project. And then the next project that I have is in my pineapple yarns bag. This was actually the first like project bag I ever received, and my aunt gave this to me. And in here, if you watched my last episode, I kind of gushed over this yarn from Explorer Knits. I'm not going to go into the whole story behind it, but if you're interested, I did talk a lot about it on my podcast last time. And yeah, so I'm making some blueberry waffle socks with this yarn. The colorway is called Sanctuary, and it's an 80/20 base. Here, let me pull up the tag. So this was the tag, and yeah. So I guess like briefly, this was one of the first skeins of indie dyed yarn that I bought. I actually bought it in a yarn shop down in Champaign. And right before I started grad school, and so this was kind of like, this is my last week of being down here in Champaign. I'm defending my thesis. Let me cast on these socks to kind of commemorate this like part of my life. And yeah, and so I have a little Fox Progress Keeper from Lock and Lou on here, which was also one of the first Progress Keepers that I got from her, from Katie. And yeah, it was really joyful to kind of work on in the moment. I was working on this in the half and half triangles wrap a lot on my last week down in Champaign, so I kind of actually wanted to knit more on this when I was down there, but you know, my creative energy was really going into that project. There's no rush to finishing these socks. I'll finish them when I finish them. I did 20 rounds on the cuff, and then I did 40 rows on the leg. The blueberry waffle socks, they are a free pattern through Ravelry, but the pattern itself obviously brings you to a different website, so you might be able to just Google blueberry waffle socks and just kind of find that page if you can't use Ravelry. They are made for DK weight socks, but it's a 4 stitch repeat, so it's really easy to adapt them to fingering weight, because many fingering weight stitches usually do like 56, 64, 72. Those are all divisible by 4, so it's really easy to, you know, adjust. So yeah, that's kind of about it for that. And I only have one more project left to show. So the next project that I have to show is actually in my Jenna Rose bag. This has kind of become a shawl of three events in my life. So I am knitting this out of Explorer Knits from her Into the Wild collection, which I also talked a little bit on my last podcast as well. I originally bought that yarn and I was like, oh, I'm going to knit a shawl after I hopefully pass my defense, because Allie had some yarn inspired by like foxes and coyotes, and that's what I studied. And some obviously other animals. I bought one that was inspired by lions, which is fitting because I'm a Leo. And yeah, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll cast on, so that way as like my kind of wrap up of like, I did it. But then I didn't want too many projects on my knitting needle, so I was like, you know what, my birthday is literally a week after, so I'll just cast on for my birthday. And so I did. So this was like a birthday shawl, slash pass my defense shawl, slash apparently my engagement shawl. So without further ado, the shawl I'm talking about is my Old Mill shawl. So the three colors that I am using, oh, and this is a pattern from Kim from Hygge Canyon. So this is what has kept my attention this past a little over a week. I casted this on last Wednesday. Today's Thursday. There's actually a good chunk of purling in here, and you would think that with all that purling I wouldn't be so addicted to it, but I just apparently needed it. I'm just really enjoying it. So there's a lot more to do still, but yeah, it's coming out really nicely. I did notice, I think I made a mistake, because I was counting my stitches after I transitioned into a different color to make sure I was on track, and I thought I counted after this first like brown section, but either I counted wrong or I just didn't, because before, so I'm at another eyelet section right now, and I realized that my stitch count was off, and I think I messed it up after this eyelet section. So scrunched up like this, unblocked, you can't like really tell, and I honestly don't care. I just figured I'd just kind of point it out to show like, oh hey, we probably all make mistakes, because I'm pretty sure I messed up. I have no desire, no intention to pull any of this out. And honestly, I kind of feel like even after it's blocked, the way that the shawl is going to wrap up, you're not really going to see it. So, but when I pull it, you can kind of see, I think, the more like knitted knitted like columns, they're not really matching up. I thought they were when I went to double check, and then later, like literally this morning, I realized, yeah, I don't think they actually are. I was trying to look at pictures on Ravelry and like on Instagram to see if I did it wrong. It's kind of hard to tell still. Like, it really is hard to tell in my opinion. So that's why I'm not like really concerned about it. And again, this isn't for anyone but me. But yeah, I still figured I'd point it out. Still really loving it. And the colors that I'm using is this is the second color, but the first one I'll show is called Gentle Natured. It's kind of a mess of a cake, but it's really pretty. So this colorway was inspired by this really pretty fox picture that she had. The second color, or like the first color that I'm using, is called Docile, which is actually the tonal that went with this variegated yarn. Again, the cake's a bit of a mess. Oh well. And then the third color that I'm using is called Purl, and this was inspired by a lion photo. Yeah, it's really pretty. Honestly, these colorways really remind me, there we go. These colors really remind me of like September. So when I think of September, I think of kind of like, well, I think a lot about blues and reds. I think red specifically because of apples, so like apple red. And kind of browns too. And now that I'm working on this, like this also kind of feels like the end of fall, like the end of summer, beginning of fall colorways. When I kind of think of like September and the beginning of school, I also think a lot about like camping. So a lot of bonfires and flannel shirts and like sitting by a lake and just kind of enjoying the last days with like green foliage before it really starts turning more of like your oranges and reds. So I don't know, that's kind of what I think about. And for some reason these colors remind me of like camping and September ultimately. So yeah, again, I'm really enjoying this. I usually use Shawl needles, but she calls for a US 3 for this shawl, and I only had like the bamboo clover ones from Michael's, and I didn't have a long enough needle. So when we were out in Colorado, I actually bought some Addy Turbos from Fancy Tiger Craft, and I actually really like them. Let me see, hold on one second. So I figured I would just compare them to the Chowgoos in case you've never used them before. So these are the Addy Turbos right here, and these are the Chowgoos. I feel like I'm saying that wrong today. But you can see, I feel like these have a shorter like triangle tip than the Chowgoos, and they're a little bit more like ball tipped, just ever so slightly. But I really like it because it kind of reminds me of like a ballpoint pen, and I tend to kind of put my needle like up as I pick up the yarn, and I feel like they glide really well. I'm still a fan of the red lace of the cable on the Chowgoos, although I haven't really found like an issue with these at all. These are just a little bit like more flexible and flimsy. Yeah, just I figured I don't really see a lot of podcasts kind of doing comparisons like that, and it was my first time using the Addy Turbo, and I just figured I would kind of share my quick thoughts about it. I've really been enjoying it. I was kind of afraid I wasn't going to enjoy it, but because I love my Chowgoo so much. But yeah, actually I'm really enjoying it. So that is the last project that I have to talk with you about. And so I have a lot of stash, guys. If that's not your thing, totally fine. I'm also going to talk about, again, life stuff, but it's kind of, I'm going to just show off stash that I got and then stuff that I picked up in Colorado. But, you know, again, if that's not like your thing, I totally understand. And thank you for joining me so far during this video. But if you are interested in my stash, let's get to it. So the first thing that I have to show is some Nutiden. I like want to talk about it like a lot, and then the other part of me it's like no, because I'm going to be knitting something with this soon, so I'm sure I'll be talking a lot more about it. This was actually from their May collection, and I just never showed it. I believe this is called Baraget. It's Swedish, and it has a lot more, so it's like kind of a purpley red colorway, and it has a lot more gray than I was anticipating when I first bought it. But I'm actually going to be making my aunt a fluff nugget cardigan very soon. As soon as I finish the old mill shawl and the lightning red shawl socks, I plan on casting this on for my aunt for her birthday, which is September 25th. And then they also sent a sample of, I I forget what this colorway is, and it's a bit smushed because they were in plastic containers, but I love this colorway. It's like a tealy like green. It reminds me of the ocean. It's has a lot of green and blue in it, but it's very tealy. I kind of see it today. I see it more as blue, but sometimes I see it more as green, such as the nature of Nutiden. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. This was one of the colors. I was contemplating between getting a sweater's quantity of this versus this. But I decided to go with this, and again, I'm making this for my aunt because she asked for a fluff nugget after seeing mine, and so I'm happy that I ended up buying this one because she already saw the color, she likes it, and I know in like the last couple of updates that they've had, none of those colors really scream my aunt, so I think she's gonna really enjoy that. Yeah, so after that, I got some Lettlopi. So Emma from Bloom Create, she is doing a knit along very soon for the Maja cardigan. I don't remember who knit it. I'll put a picture over here, and the maker. It's a free pattern, so which is really nice because it's color work, and it's also steeking. This is my first steeked project that I'm going to be doing, which is kind of wild. But these are the 4 colors I decided on. And I actually got this from the yarn shop down in Urbana called Close Knit. I worked there for like a year during my grad school as well. And it was nice to just say goodbye to Rikita, the owner, one last time, as well as just purchase some yarn from her one last time. So, this is going to be the, like, there are 3 like main colors, and then there's one that's just like, I needed just one skein of this as like a contrasting color. So this will be the contrasting colorway, and this is called Frostbite. So it's like a grayish green color. This is very autumnal color scheme going on. And then like on the top of the sweater where there's color work, there's like kind of a, I think, an off-white color. So I just got like white for that part. It's getting a little blown out. And then this will be the color for like the band area and whatever else this needs to go. And this is called Rust. And then the last color is a little out of my comfort zone. I love orange. I love orange. But I tend to lean more towards like the rust orange, and this is more like pumpkin orange, a little like a darker pumpkin orange, but this is called Apricot. And this will be like that main color in the body. Again, I would have posted the picture, and then if you're curious to see more about it, you can just look it up. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. She's, I think, gonna start it at the end of August. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know actually if this is like a Patreon only knit along or if she is doing it on Instagram as well. But I'll probably start this after I finish my aunt's fluff nugget. Or maybe I'll start it before. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's so exciting. So then the next, okay, so this is like a lot. It's probably the most I'm gonna have for like the rest of the year. I mean, I'm still probably gonna buy some yarn. I did buy some more Nutiden. I do have some like gift yarn that I need to buy to make people like presents, but this is like it for a while, at least big purchase wise. So the next yarn that I wanted to show is from Sewrella. And so she did a Little Mermaid collection right on July 1st, and I was like, well, okay, Little Mermaid's my favorite. Ariel's my favorite Disney princess, and this colorway, I mean, all the colorways are beautiful, but I really got sucked into this one. This one is called Ariel. And I plan on making a cardigan with this. I forget what the cardigan is called, but it's from Pip and Pin. And yeah, I'm really excited. I bought the candle that they offered too, and I haven't lit it yet, but it really smells like very oceany. It smells so good. I feel like people, especially this summer, I've seen a lot of like beach themed candles, and I think they're kind of hard. I don't think people really do it. My favorite candle ever is Pacific Coast by Wax and Wool, and that smells so good. It's definitely smells not like sea salt, but kind of like coastal. It was kind of inspired by like the redwoods and like the ocean, so it's not like sea salts, but I can definitely get that coast vibe from it. And then like the candle that came with this collection, I think smells very like oceany. So I'm very excited to like that at some point. And then I got some hand cream, which smells delightful as well. And then the last sweater quantity that I got, yes, I got another round of sweater quantity. I only pulled one skein out though. And this is Peace Fleece. So this is the Morning Dove colorway. I got it from Harrisville Designs because I signed up to get notified. This colorway has been out for almost the whole entire year, to my knowledge anyways. So that's when I kind of started looking at it earlier this year. I've seen this colorway like last year. This is my favorite one out of all of them that they have for Peace Fleece. And just, yeah, it's called Morning Dove. It's the worsted weight. And Harrisville, if you sign up for their subscription, you get 10% off discount. And then if you spend just like, I think like $75 or more, you get free shipping. So honestly, for like 8 skeins, I think I paid like, even with tax, like maybe $90, which for worsted weight, I actually feel is pretty affordable for 8 skeins. So they are, I would consider, a more affordable worsted weight yarn. And I think my plan for this is going to be the Farmhouse Cardigan by, oh, what's her name? Is it Amy Christophers? She's the same one that did the Felix cardigan. Lindsay from Larkspur Knits knit her Farmhouse cardigan with Peace Fleece, and it looked so good, and so I think I'm going to do the same thing. Not 100% sure yet, but that's what I'm leaning towards. So I don't plan on casting this on anytime soon. I did have that Marcella cardigan that I casted on that I showed last time. I did knit a few rounds on that, but just not enough to show today. But yeah, so that's like stash acquisitions outside of Colorado. And so I kind of figured I'll start kind of talking about life and then show what I got as I talk about it. So it's been kind of wild 2 weeks. As I have mentioned numerous times already, I defended my thesis and I passed with revisions. So right now I'm in the process of making those revisions. It's been a little bit hard though to find the writing mojo, especially after coming back from Colorado, but also like I have to start looking for a job now. So I'm like, Allie, you gotta write so then you can give it to your committee. You gotta try to publish this paper. And it's like, so that way, like when you start a job, you're not trying to do like everything. So yeah, I passed, woohoo. And then after I did that, 3 days later, the next like two and a half days, I like packed and cleaned my whole apartment. Fortunately, it's a studio, so it wasn't like a lot of cleaning, but I still had a decent amount of packing to do. And then we moved all my stuff from Champaign to Chicago, so I said farewell. And then I tried to unpack everything, and I tried to clean my Chicago apartment, which is definitely a bit bigger, because my sister was going to house/cat sit for us while we went out to Colorado. My fiance Nick and I went out there, and yeah, and then Colorado was just like amazing. So It's one of my favorite places ever. We still consider moving out there. Like on one hand, you know, most of our family is here. He does have a sister out there, and his other sister is actually starting college there. His family's leaving tomorrow to take her out to Colorado to start college, which is wild. So we do have like some family out there, but most of my family is here in Chicago or the like Chicago metropolitan area. And I don't know, I still want to move out there though. Boulder County is like one of my favorite spots. Although there's still other places that we would really love to visit in Colorado. So yeah, so when we first like got there, we went to Fort Collins. I've been to Fort Collins to check out Colorado State, but I haven't seen like their main downtown, Old Town area, and I also really wanted to go to My Sister Knits, and we did that. And I'm not gonna lie, My Sister Knits is probably my most favorite yarn shop that I've been to. I'll probably put like a little video of just the upstairs right here, and in general, I'll try to stick some like pictures or videos at the end of this video of this general podcast. I just didn't put anything in the beginning because everything I took out there was on my phone. A lot of it's on portrait mode, not landscape, so just, I don't know, I just figured I'd just stick that at the end this time instead. But yeah, so I knew My Sister Knits was like a house from like pictures that I've seen, but it's actually a carriage house behind, I believe, like the owner's actual house. And so it's really cute because like you get up there and you'll see the sign like My Sister Knits and the carriage house, and there's like a cute little white fence and you walk through it. And they have like a chicken coop and a really pretty little garden area. And once I got in, at first I was like, oh, this is cute, but this is a lot smaller than what I thought, because I didn't realize they had the upstairs. And so like the first level, they had like some indie dyers to the left, like when you first walk in. I didn't get any footage of like the downstairs. A lot of Brooklyn tweed, Bullfolk, Spincycle, Biche Bouche. I think we're all like on the first floor, and again some other indie dyers and some other like beautiful yarn. And then I like inquired about the Explorer knits to one of the employees, and she's like, oh yeah, it's upstairs. And I was like, oh, there's an upstairs. And upstairs is dangerous. I could have walked out of there like at least 50 skeins. It was beautiful. So many, again, just so many amazing dyers. Earl Grey Fiber Co., which this is the first time I saw her yarn in person, and it just shined. I was like, sold, I'm buying it, sold. Hugh Loco, Explorer Knits, Woolberry, Coast to Coast yarn, another yarn I've never seen like in person, which was also really beautiful. And just some other like amazing dyers, all like so much Surrey. I swear there's been like 7 trains that have gone by since I've started recording. But yeah, so all of the Surrey, Farmer's Daughter fibers, and so very overwhelmed by all the amazingness of it, really, truly. So my boyfriend and I have been living together, or have been together for almost 11 years come September 13th. We've talked about getting married for quite some time now. There's something that it was gonna happen, and so what we said instead was, you know what, like I know you're gonna propose to me within like the next year, so we decided, you know what, let's go on like a really special trip to kind of like commemorate it, and it's like one of our favorite places, like Colorado. So I knew it was gonna happen at some point on the trip. And so I really wanted to buy some sock yarn to kind of make us socks to commemorate it. Now, I really like the idea of just going to like a yarn shop when I travel now and just buying yarn to commemorate the trip, and really kind of bring it back in regards to just buying from updates all the time. But he originally picked out Coast to Coast yarn, which was really beautiful and very different than what I thought he would pick out. It was kind of like this maroon purple color, but then I realized there wasn't any nylon. It was 100% superwash yarn, superwash merino, and I'm just a stickler to always have nylon when I make socks. So he ended up choosing this Earl Grey Fiber Co., and this is called Frog and Toad Are Friends. And he said it just reminded him of the woods, and I was like, yeah. So that's a very autumnal colorway. And then I was stuck between two colors by Earl Grey Fiber Company too. And there was like a lighter one with some like pinks and mustard yellows, and he and the worker that was there actually picked the second color that I was looking at, which is called Rose Gold, which has like pinks and golds and browns, and it's another colorway that's probably going to be really beautiful, especially for this fall. And it just shines, like it's so beautiful. So I already planned on buying that, and then I also was planning on buying Pom Pom, their summer issue, which was actually 30% off when I went, which was great. So this was like a bird. There's a lot of patterns in here that I literally love them all. As I flipped through it, one of my favorites kind of popped out. So this is called the Lodestar, I believe, by Kirsten Rovetta. I could totally be butchering that, but it's beautiful. Yeah, and there's some other fabulous patterns in here. So, really quick side story. I was looking actually at Barnes & Noble because my Barnes & Noble carries Pom Pom, or I've seen it in the past multiple times. And so the past like couple months, I was going in there looking for this magazine, and then finally I asked them, "Are you still carrying this?" And they couldn't find it in their system, and they're like, "It looks like we're not carrying it." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." I don't mind. I mean, I love supporting local yarn shops. It's just harder for me to get out to them. As opposed to Barnes & Noble, which is really close to me. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to my sister knits. It was already the plan for going out to Colorado. I'll just buy it then. I went to Barnes & Noble yesterday. Guess what they had in stock? I was like, well, keep that in mind for the next Pom Pom because I really want the fall one. But again, I'm really happy, and it was 30% off, and I'm really happy to support a local yarn shop. So then I got something else that I didn't plan on getting, but I couldn't resist. I've been wanting to make, I believe it's called the Red Cedar Hat by Lindsay Fowler since it came out. It came out in the Wood and Smoke Farmer's Daughter like collection. It was like a booklet. So I forgot if it came out last year or like the year before. I don't remember. And the Farmer's Daughter fiber actually had a recent sale online, but I was like, you know what? I should save my money for Colorado. Then of course we went to my sister knits and they had it. This is a little bit darker than what's showing up on camera, but it does have like that much color depth. Like there's a lot of color change to this. This is called Eagle Eye, and this is the color that I was actually looking at online. And then they had Spincycle, and so some of the ladies helped me choose one, and I got the Family Jewels, which had this. I have Family Jewels for my night shift shawl, and this is actually, I would say, they're all different, right? Spincycle is different, but this one has a little bit more like the browns to it and the blues. So I'm very excited to knit this. I want to cast this on at some point this fall. So gorgeous. So that's what I got, which, considering how beautiful and how much delightful things they had, not so bad. And then later that day, we actually saw a baseball game. So the Cubs were playing the Rockies, and we were like more of a White Sox fan in this household, but it was still really fun to see like Chicago playing against the Rockies. So many Cubs fans in the audience, like half of the audience was wearing blue. I did wear a White Sox cap because I don't want any Cubs, but I was still rooting for Chicago, although the Rockies beat them by quite a lot. It was still a really fun game, and yeah, so it's been that was nice to actually go to like a baseball game. And then the next day was August 4th, which was my birthday. So I turned 29 last year in my 20s, which is kind of wild. And we met up with his sister and we actually went to Vail. It was called Piney River Ranch, was this little like hiking area that we went up to. You can actually, I think, rent cabins. There's some like camping that's around too. And it was really, really beautiful. It was, yeah, just this hiking trail that kind of went up to like the end. In some of like the videos that I have, you'll kind of see the lake, and then in the background you kind of see those peaks, and we essentially hiked to really close to like the back of those peaks. And then when you looked out, you can see like the lake, like so tiny. There was like a little waterfall up there, and it was like super calming, and it was a really nice birthday. And then the next day we just kind of hung out in Boulder. We were a little bit sore. My boy Nick was actually getting some altitude sickness, which he never experienced before in Colorado, but he's always driven out there. So I know it takes a few days for your body to usually acclimate to higher elevations. But I'm just wondering if like when we drive out there, because the last time I was out in Colorado, I also flew out there and I was getting altitude sickness that first time. This time I was actually fine for the most part. But I wonder if just like, you know, when you drive, like your body's like slowly like getting higher and higher. And so I wonder like, you know, if that just helps, even if you drive in 1 to 2 days. But yeah, so we're like, you know what, we'll just take it kind of easy. Like we'll just go around Boulder. So there's, I think it's like Gulch Lookout or something like that. I kind of forgot. It's like, if you are familiar with Boulder, you take like Baseline Road essentially kind of up past like the Flatirons on the other side. It's just a really beautiful lookout point. And so we were like up there for a little bit, and then we came into like a hiking trail, like not like a little bit lower from the lookout, and I'm all of a sudden getting like super giddy just thinking about it. But yeah, so then we were on this hiking trail and we came up to these, I'm still really bad at my conifer trees, even though I love conifer trees. It's just like this really beautiful like spot where it's kind of like shady. You could smell like all of like the pine. That's what it smells like. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it was just beautiful. And of course here I am taking like a photo of like a bump, like a bee on a flower, and he kind of like got the ring out but didn't ask me yet. And he was like, I was like starting to walk away. He's like, wait, come back here. And you know, just said like, you know, how much he loves me and stuff. And then in that moment, because me being me, I was like, oh, this is it. I started like laughing a little bit, like giggling. And I was like, no, I have to compose myself. So like I turned kind of like away. And then when I turned back, he was like on his knee and he asked me to marry him. And I was like, yes. And so I really, I think you did a really awesome job with this ring. I like delicate rings. I like delicate jewelry. I call it the Marquise diamond because that's what Google said. But I think some people also call it Marquis. And yeah, I just think he did a great job. Just gonna show it off one more time. It's like a super thin band, which I'm so happy about because again, I do not like flashy jewelry, but yeah, I think it's perfect. I'm really happy. Yeah, so that was a week ago. Wow, he proposed a week ago. I've been engaged for a week. And then oh my gosh, okay. So we started looking at wedding venues last fall because of COVID. We're like, you know what, maybe we should start looking now because everyone's gonna be pushing their weddings. Like we're currently thinking June 2023, so I have a little less than 2 years. But for a hot minute, we were like, maybe we can have a wedding out in Colorado. But we have a lot of older family members, not a lot, but we have a few older family members that it would just be hard for them to go out there, and we would like them to celebrate with us. So but there's one place called the Greenbrier Inn. So if you're from Boulder, I highly recommend going there, or if you're just like traveling in Colorado, you're in the Boulder area, highly recommend. It's expensive, if you're going out there for like a meal in itself, it's expensive, but for wedding prices, it wasn't really that bad in my opinion, just comparing it to places like in Chicago and even other places in Colorado. So it's about like 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes from like the downtown Boulder area up north. And so then you're getting more into like the foothills and like these open fields, and there's like little baby cows like prancing around in the fields. Like, this is so freaking cute. And it's, you get up there, like you kind of see like these really beautiful, like, just like the foothills and the mountains and everything. And it's a really beautiful spot for a wedding. And it's like a little kind of lodgy feeling restaurant. If you're from Chicago or the Chicagoland area, it reminds me a little bit more of like a higher end Elle Woods. Little less lodgy, but pretty much like the same kind of atmosphere. And so it was like the best meal I've ever had. We got like crab cakes that were like delicious. Like filet mignon, and maybe I'm uncalled. I've been to a lot of nice restaurants in Chicago. I've never had them take out that little metal thing and like scrape my table down before. They gave us like sorbet between our appetizer and our main meal to like cleanse the palate, which again I've never had given to me in Chicago. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong nice places. Let's see, we were overhearing them, like I guess they have like a little garden area that they will get some of like their berries from. Like even when we were the filet, it was like, oh, with foraged mushrooms, and these mushrooms are massive and they were so good. We overheard one of the hosts saying like to another couple, like, oh, like yeah, like the owner has like 15 chickens at his home, and then they'll bring those eggs for Sunday brunch, and Nick and I are like, why do we not live here? And then they had in season, I forgot what the peaches were called out in Colorado, but they were in season, and we had a peach scalette, and they're like, oh yeah, let us know, because we make everything kind of like, for the most part, like fresh. It takes about 45 minutes. And it was freaking delicious. I will never forget that meal. So yeah, I would recommend checking it out if you're able to kind of put that in your budget. Again, this was our engagement dinner, so we knew we were gonna spend some money on that. But now that we've been there and we really enjoyed it, it's definitely a place that we want to go to in the future. So then, I'm not done with my stash acquisition, but that was kind of like that day. And we also saw his sister again at her job, and we like surprised, because she ended up having to do something out in Boulder, and so we like surprised her with the ring and stuff too, so that was really nice. And then the last day we were there, it was just kind of like we wanted to do like more hiking and stuff, but a lot of places you needed reservations, and I just couldn't get them like the days before. But it was still just nice to kind of just spend time together. We just like were kind of in Boulder by the Flatirons, and then we went up to Denver because I love Voodoo Donuts. And then Fancy Tiger Crafts is really close to Voodoo Donuts, and so we were just like, let's just go. I did not buy the things I'm going to show you besides the bag itself from Fancy Tiger Crafts. Was actually a gift from Nick to me. So I technically did not spend my money besides like the $5-6 on this little tote. Also, I did not get any yarn from Fancy Tiger Crafts, so yay. But I did get fabric and other things. So the first thing that I got, which I wasn't planning on buying any more Lina magazines, but I did. I was flipping through it. There's some articles I really wanted to read, and just some of the patterns. Per usual, Lina has fabulous patterns. I actually really like the new look of it too, the new cover and everything. So I got it, or yeah, I got it. And then I bought, well, again, I didn't buy them, but I got like a sticker to put in my journal. I got a needle gauge thing. I actually really needed one of these. My sister knits. I didn't see one that said my sister knits, so that's why I got one from Fancy Tiger Crafts. And now I have it, so yay. And then really the main things that I got was fabric. This is called Ruby Star Society. So they have a ton of fabric at Fancy Tiger Crafts. There was a lot of yarn, a lot of amazing yarn still. A lot of other things like felting, some weaving stuff, some like I think like cross stitch embroidery in general, and then but like it's like half fabric, half yarn for a lot of it. I didn't see like actual lot of like quilting, like layer cakes or jelly rolls or anything like that. They did have like a few options for layer cakes and jelly rolls, but most of it was just like the standard fabric bat holder thing. I don't know what they're called. So I didn't really look at that too much, and I think it's a mix of like cotton and like a lot of garment type of fabrics, I think. But I did get this, and I kind of just really want to make a simple quilt with it, but it's really pretty. And yeah, and so yeah, I'm hoping to do that at some point. And then I guess this is technically, I can make this my engagement quilt, because apparently anything I buy there is now officially like an engagement thing, which I'm trying, man, okay, so there's some people I see on Instagram, on my personal Instagram, not on my knitting Instagram, that are like every day, like they'll post like stuff about their engagement, about getting married. I'm like, I'm really happy you're happy. That's like a lot. And now I'm like, oh my god, I kind of understand. I mean, I'm still not at that level, but it is exciting. It is fun. I'm really trying to find like that balance of not being annoying with it though, but this is probably, I mean, it just happened. It happened a week ago. So this, yeah, you're just gonna hear it for this podcast. But I'm actually really excited. I'm more excited than what I thought. And the only reason I say it like that is because we've been talking about getting married for so long. Like, I've already been looking at like the kind of dresses that I like, different venues, you know, thinking about flowers and stuff like that, you know, before this trip. But now that it's like, it like kind of hit, like now it's real. Like, oh my goodness, I get to plan all these amazing things and try to make a very affordable, budget-friendly wedding, but also make it like very earthy fairy tale. Yeah, so I'm just really excited, you guys. Like, really excited. And of course, just everything else that comes with being married. Like, we've been living together for 9.5 years. And, but just, I don't know, just like all the things that the 30s or the next year and the next decade have in store for us, like, I don't know, I'm really excited about it. Now that I'm like done with school and I'm not gonna have my first day of school for the first time ever, now I can kind of just focus more on us and our family, and I don't know, I'm just really excited. So I think I want to leave it at that before I just keep saying multiple times how excited I am. But I do really appreciate if you've been here for this long and just kind of looking at everything with me and just like hearing my lovely past 2 weeks of craziness, and now I have to like find a job. So yeah, just thank you so much for just sticking around, and I will see you guys probably at the end of August, hopefully with some finished objects this time around. And I hope you have a wonderful day, rest of your week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.